So the crisis at the border, which is all a product of Joe Biden, is just one of the parts of the very bad week Joe Biden had. And you must understand that everything I'm about to go through, Joe Biden spent the weekend in Delaware by the beach. Tony Katz today. It's good to be with you. 833 got Tony. Would love to hear from you. 833-468-8669. Joe Biden is absentee. And his party is unwilling to speak out, even though we're already seeing media engaged in certain levels of cracks. There are certain levels of things being broken apart. This was Jonathan Karl on ABC.
Well, it looked like the White House was getting ahead of the science, that the White House was getting ahead of the health experts. And, Dr. Fauci seems to be in a little bit of a spin mode and saying, look, we just wanted to be ready by this date. But make no mistake, Martha, when the White House rolled this out, the expectation was you would begin the process of boosters for everybody on September 20th. That was not the recommendation of the FDA advisory panel. It will not be what the FDA goes forward with in all likelihood. And this is important because Biden's credibility on COVID has been what has driven his level of his popularity. I mean, this is what he is trusted most on and what he needs to be trusted most on, and we've seen it eroded over the past several weeks.
So the border is a disaster, and MSNBC is noting it. And his failure on COVID has now been noted by ABC. What is the failure? The failure is that Joe Biden went out there and told everybody that boosters were the way. Boosters are the way forward. Everybody, we're going to have these boosters. And as a matter of fact, we're not only going to have these boosters.
We'll be ready to start this booster program during the week of September 20.
But of course, that's not the case. That's not when they were ready to have this booster program. So much so, not ready, that the FDA just voted two different votes. One was, and this was a panel within the FDA. One was the idea of boosters 65 and older, and one was an idea of boosters between the ages of 16 and 65. Boosters, meaning a booster shot, a third shot from whether it's Pfizer or Moderna, or I guess would be a second shot from Johnson & Johnson. Really, really kick in that immune response. Does it work? Does it not? They're seeing things in some places that say that it works. I'm not denying that it might not be helpful. Check with your doctor. But Joe Biden put it out there that we're going to have these boosters good to go. Well, we don't have these boosters good to go. Now, do we? The panel voted in a vote of 18-0 for boosters ages 65 and older. But for ages 16 to 65, that vote was 16-2 against boosters, meaning no boosters for your kids, no boosters for people starting families. None of that stuff goes against what it is that Joe Biden put out there. Yet Dr. Fauci, talking to Jake Tapper on CNN, is defending him.
Jake, I don't think so. The president was very clear, as was the medical group, when we said we are planning to do this. And it was always said in his official statement, in the official written statement from all of us, including the FDA and the CDC, that was pending and on the condition of the examination of all of the data by the FDA. It's understandable how there could have been some confusion, but what was said was pretty clear, Jake.
It seems to me that Dr. Anthony Fauci is being muzzled by the White House and being forced to say certain things to make them look good. That's what it seems to me. That's clear that Joe Biden is telling the Dr. Fauci, telling the NIH and the CDC what to say so he looks good. Isn't that what they said about Donald Trump? Why isn't it true now? Why isn't it true now? It's the same exact thing. That's Fauci covering. Biden got ahead of the science. Biden got ahead of the FDA. Biden got ahead of others, and he looks the fool. So here he is on the border. Oh, we're gonna recreate the system because Trump broke the system, and Trump did this and Trump did that. Trump does not have 15,000 people under a bridge. None of that is Trump. That is all Joe Biden. As a matter of fact, not just under a bridge, crossing into the United States. Overwhelming the system. None of them, from what we know, have COVID shots, and people are worried that this could be a super spreader event. Failing on COVID and the FDA. Oh, we'll get into the mask failure coming up. You do not miss me on masks, because I've got some strong words and I've got some advice that you're going to want to take. What else has Joe Biden failed on? That's right, the drone strike in Kabul. 13 U.S. service members killed because Joe Biden didn't know how to engage in evacuation. The failure of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Mark Milley. The failure of the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin. They left Americans to die. And so we are clear, they left Americans to die. We still have at least 100 Americans that are in Kabul, in Afghanistan right now. Dana Perino on Fox was talking to a woman who is an American citizen from Afghanistan who is still in Afghanistan. You listen.
Julie, tell me what you are hearing from the State Department. You are a U.S. citizen, been a citizen for 16 years or longer.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about that and what you are hearing from the State Department about what you're supposed to do now.
I'm not doing. I'm just sitting for a help. They broke me. The United States broke me because I'm U.S. citizen. And past month, I've been through a lot of very bad in my life. I see, I just came to get married here to have life with my family and get back there. The Taliban coming and everything is changing. It make my life is. I'm dying, but it's still alive. I don't know.
That's Joe Biden's legacy. That's what Joe Biden did. You get upset if your kid gets left at the mall for an extra hour. That's what Joe Biden did. So has it been a very bad week? Oh, yeah. It's been a very bad, very awful, very terrible week for Joe Biden and for America as we see the absolute level of failure of this administration, the inability of this administration to do anything. These are not competent people. These are not the adults in the room. 13 U.S. service members killed because they couldn't properly plan an evacuation. And so what comes next? Well, this is clearly the work of ISIS-K. ISIS-K did this, and we are not going to let them get away with it. So the next thing you know, there's a drone strike, and you've got 10 people killed, and oh, yeah, we took out that ISIS-K member. No, they didn't. There was no ISIS-K member. They killed 10 civilians, did Joe Biden and his team, including 7 children. So for a guy who was desperate to get us out of war, it sure seems like he did the things that would start one. Marine Corps General Kenneth McKenzie, commander at U.S. CENTCOM, saying that the civilians were tragically killed on August 29th. Yet it was Mark Milley who had called the strike righteous. Guys, I haven't even gotten into France recalling their ambassador because of the submarines. We're going to have that whole conversation coming up. You know what? Let me do it now, just really quick. Get it out of the way. I think there's more to this story than meets the eye. The United States struck a deal with Australia and the United Kingdom regarding nuclear-powered submarines. This to help further patrols in the Indo-Pacific. Really a hedge against China. France is infuriated that they were left out of the deal, and they recalled their ambassadors from the United States and from Australia because of it. On this, the only thing that you could put to Biden right now, from what I can gather, is that he did not do a job in letting allies know what the plan was. But the idea that we would create a deal with Australia regarding submarines, that makes sense. That we would be looking into how to do things in the area, in the Indo-Pacific, makes total sense. That you would further the relationship with Australia because of the threat of China makes perfect sense. All of that makes absolute sense to me. The recalling of the ambassador means that he did not do enough to engage our allies. He didn't care about them, or he's incompetent, which is the facts, because for Joe Biden, he has never gotten a foreign policy decision right, ever. So we killed civilians, not an ISIS-K member, not a terrorist in Kabul. We left Americans behind to die. He lied about COVID boosters and got ahead of the science there. And while you have 15,000 people in a massive humanitarian disaster at the border, he's on vacation in Delaware. Keep it right here. I'm Tony Katz.